Let's see what's in box numero uno. Try to get through these quick. Why is it always a necklace that I get on my alts, man? Not that I'm serious about playing this DK or anything, but everyone's gonna get Elemental Lariat anyways. But it's an upgrade for now, so we're Gucci. Alright, rob the ice sling in time. I should have a full alt or vault here, so plenty of options to choose from. Oops. Looks like I didn't park him at the vault last night. Alright, some good. I'd like probably just some armor piece at 421 so I can catalyst it. Ooh, that's a big staff, god dang. Oh wow, these wrists are pretty much exactly what I need. Yeah, I don't know. Feels kind of weird to take the risks over the 421 weapons, but like, it is pretty much exactly what I need. I have 389. It's like my current piece is the lowest that I have. I'm just gonna take it so I don't have to worry about grinding risks anymore. Alright. What eye level is Rob the Iceling at now, dude? 415. What a pumper. Freaking go, dude. Actually sick. Rob the Iceling is a goddamn gamer. Alright. Time for the old DH. And then after this guy, we're going to do the weekly and plus Demon Hunter builds. I'm either looking for a 421 weapon or, you know, maybe something socketed, I guess. But most likely going to take some tokens and socket the 421 belt that I got last week. Yeah. Just a bunch of nothing, really. Socket time. Alright. Let's see. Nothing else I could put a socket in, right? What does this thing say? I can put it on helms, necks, bracers, belts. Okay. Yeah. 421 time. And I don't know how at this point I still haven't gotten a 421 puzzle box. It's puzzling. I don't understand really, but who am I to deny the fates? Alright, I'm just gonna buy this gem so I don't forget. And then we'll do the weekly whatever. And after the weekly DH builds, we're going to do some M plus because I've been on too long of a hiatus. Live Lord set. Gamer. Am I 419 yet? Still not 419. Incredible. This character's cursed. Feels bad, man. Oh, whoa. Hey, what's up, everybody? At 6 viewers now. Yeah, you just missed all the vaults. Alright. Since everyone's here now, let's get started with the weekly and plus builds. Alright. I'm sure y'all can guess. Number 1, Outta Academy. Obviously gonna recommend Throw Glaive. Just to quickly talk about the Throw Glaive build. It's not this one. We're gonna be running something like this, right? And definitely make sure this week you're taking Misery and Defeat because Algathar Academy has a lot of big pulls, and it's fortified. So the mobs are going to live for a long time, especially at higher keys, right? So you want the most amount of damage possible from yourself. There's really nothing else that's going to kill you in the dungeon besides the mobs, and you know, this will help you kill them fast. Not anything groundbreaking there. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously just the Growing Inferno and Ragefire stuff. It's really good on the tree boss and the whole tree area pulls and everything. So, and there's really no argument to make for like a shorter cooldown on Darkness. I wouldn't say there's a bunch of instances where you get a lot of value out of Darkness. So, yeah, and then we don't really need a shorter CD on Chaos Nova or anything like that. And some weeks, like if it's tyrannical, sometimes I would recommend taking like this demon muzzle, where you know, enemies deal 8% reduced magic damage to you when they're sigiled. If it's tyrannical, you know, that's nice to have against Vexmas, but shouldn't really be an issue this week on Fortified. So, hey, Swagnelli, thank you for the gifted subs, man. Thank you, bro. Swagnelli's the man. He's back at it again. Everybody watch out. Alright. Next one is your vault. I'm also going to recommend Glaive because I'm going to guess. Oh, I don't have my MDT add-on on. 1 second. I'm going to guess, though, that your tank is going to probably go for 100% route and opt to not go for any pulls with the frogs. It's especially annoying on Fortified because these frogs tend to live for forever. Because especially if you have some ranged in the group, they're gonna be kind of like, say you get down here and you make this first pull, right? And that's all great. Like they all group up. Well, like halfway through, because these frogs are gonna be living forever. Your ranged are probably going to be hanging out on the outskirts and like dodging other stuff, and so these frogs aren't going to stay grouped for very long, and it just ends up making them take forever, right? So really, your tank should be going for, I can't remember if this is the 100% route. It's not. But let's just pretend it is. Your tank should definitely be going for something like this, where they practically pull everything on the second ring. And practically everything on this ring, and namely that they'll be actually activating one of these whelps and pulling all this together. This is a really tough pull. You might get your second lust up for this, if not for this pull. These are all really tough pulls, and you know, they have frontals that really hurt your tank, and so it's really important for you to have the most possible like AoE damage. And yeah, I mean, all these pulls are kind of tough too. This first one isn't, only because you have Lust, but like if you're playing Glaive Tempest, you're really not going to have enough burst on a higher key to like help your team out here on this pull. But you can play Glaive Tempest if that's what you're more comfortable with. I mean, a dead DPS does no DPS, right? So if you feel like you doing your momentum fell rushes all around and backflipping, you think you'll be fell rushing and backflipping in front of mobs, then sure, you can play Glaive Tempest. But just know that you're going to do a lot less damage overall, and that might hinder your team. So yeah. And one thing actually I want to talk about here is I still think Misery and Defeat's like really good, but this is one of these cases where like you could maybe even take the shorter cooldown on Sigil and Misery, just because if you're doing the 100% route, you're going to be dealing with so many of those mobs that you need like AoE stops on like endlessly, to where this could actually maybe see value. But you know, if you're in a like maybe that'd be good for a pug, but if you're in a coordinated group and you're in a comp that has a lot of AoE stops, then I mean you're just gonna get more value out of the 20% damage increase for 5 seconds, right? Um, so yeah, not too much to really talk about there. And then yeah, I mean, I guess you can make an argument for a shorter Chaos Nova cooldown. I actually do understand that. If you did want to do that, I would not take this out. You could just take a tick off of the Will of Illidari and sacrifice 3% maximum health. That's really not such a big deal. Um, and yeah, really no point of having a shorter uh, cooldown on Darkness, right? And I'm not sure if there's really nothing else here that I could see an argument for on the talents. So yeah. All right, Court of Stars. Now me personally, like, I'm still gonna play Throw Glaive here. Um, but but like the safer option and something that still makes sense for, you know, general pugs and stuff is Glaive Tempest. I understand that it's still really good for the second boss. It's got a little bit more single target damage, so you can focus on the high priority ads throughout the dungeon. So I get that. And especially this is a lot more safer, Glaive Tempest, if um, you know, if you have trouble playing momentum on the last boss, right? You know, once again, a dead DPS does no DPS. And so if you feel like that's going to be an issue for you, then you can 100% go Glaive Tempest. But it will do less damage, not too much less, because the size of the pulls in that dungeon is a lot smaller. But you know, the takeaway is that Throw Glaive's always going to do more damage, but it's a little bit more risky considering all the frontals in that dungeon, and the last boss be a little rough if you're not good at uh, you know, fell rushing around and know how to live, right? All right. Next one, Halls of Valor. Like like I said, even on like tyrannical weeks, I still like play Throw Glaive in Halls of Valor. It just does more damage, but in fortified weeks, it's 100% required. I feel like every single mob in there like just hurts so much, especially the tank. And you just want to delete them as fast as you can from the video game, right? You want to delete them. And on top of all that, there's a bunch of really big pulls, right? If that's the case, you know, the Scrolling Inferno and Ragefire talent, it's always going to pull ahead. Um, and it's just going to carry those big uncapped AoE pulls, right? Uh, that your team is looking to you, the Demon Hunter, for. Not every class has like pure uncapped abilities, like, you know, like some of the abilities we have in Demon Hunter. So yeah, and then, you know, once again, I mean, Misery and Defeat just makes sense. Really no reason not to take it. And I'm not sure what value you would get out of taking a shorter cooldown on Chaos Nova and a shorter cooldown on Darkness. So yeah, pretty straightforward one there. I think you should play Throw Glaive pretty much no matter what. No coup defensive, it's also Throw Glaive. there's a bunch of pretty big pulls in there, and then on top of all that, for the bosses, pretty much every boss has some sort of cleave on them, or at some point in their fights, except for the elemental, right? Um, but all the pulls around there, I mean, Throwglaive just pulls ahead anyways, so and there's a lot of like high priority mobs in there that you have to kill. Um, so I feel like this is Throwglaive is just gonna be your best bet for an easy run. Yeah, and for talents, no reason to take any of these other utility talents. It's really just this build right here, right? And the Misery and Defeat, 20% damage increase. All right, Ruby Life Pools. This is another one where, okay, me personally, obviously I'm gonna play Throwglaive, but I could see Glaive Tempest because once you get to the top ring, there's a lot of smaller pulls. Um, but uh, I think Throwglaive pulls ahead for me just because of the beginning area, and it's really make or break on your key if you think about it, right? Like, here, let's take a look here at it. So this is generally like when I'm pugging or if I'm running with my group, this is pretty much what we always go for. And these pulls right here are easily like in the top 5 hardest pulls in this dungeon. Um, because if they live for too long, you're just gonna run out of CC for these Earth Shapers. And if you remember what these Earth Shapers do, they have this ability called Tectonic Slam. Um, and on Fortified, now really high key, I mean, this could just potentially one-shot your group, right? It hurts so freaking bad, man. Um, and you can't not stop that ability. And it's not interruptible, so you need like stops, right? You need AoE stops and all that. And you can use Imprison on them and stuff. But yeah, these pulls definitely make or break the dungeon. And so Throwglaive pulls ahead for me. On top of all of that, the first, second, and third boss, they all have cleave on them, so Throwglaive is just going to perform better. And yeah. Now, I did want to talk about with Ruby Life pools that this is the one dungeon where I can definitely see an argument for the shorter cooldown on Darkness. Um, and if you want to do that, then what I'd recommend is taking, whoops, what I'd recommend is taking one tick out of the Will Illidari and then just putting it in there, right? And that's because of this area, the second ring, right? Uh, Basically, what you can try to do is have at least like 3 darknesses throughout this whole area, right? So maybe you can use it on like the Thunder Dragon, and then like possibly have a backup for this pack with the Inferno, or something like this, anything like that, right? And then potentially still even have a backup for the second boss, which it's really Darkness is really good in this dungeon. This is one of the few dungeons where I feel like Darkness gets way more value than the other ones, because there's a lot of ticking damage, and your group tends to stay very close together anyway, right? Because Darkness is really not that big, as far as like a circle. It's not like Paladin's Aura Mastery where it's just a flat 20% damage production to everyone in like 40 yards or whatever it is, right? The group has to be clumped up and stand in it to get value from it. And so all these mobs in here, there's really no reason why while you're killing them that your group couldn't really do that anyway, right? So, and obviously these Infernos, they cast something and then it leaves a really hard ticking dot, and it's really hard on your healer. This dungeon on Fortified is really tough on your healer. It's hard to keep up with all the dots, so yeah. That one you really could play either or, but I feel like Throwglaive is a lot stronger and will do more damage overall. Shadow Moon Burial Grounds. This one's a little tough. Hmm. I feel like you could play Glaive Tempest. But I think this comes down to personal preference. I'm probably gonna try both this week and see how it goes. But I think Glaive Tempest is your safest bet, and it'll be a lot easier to complete the dungeon that way. Throwglaive is perfectly fine, and I mean, I pretty much chested all my high keys of SPG playing Throwglaive, so yeah, either or really though. Temple the Jade Serpent, I think this is another one where Glaive Tempest is your safest pick. It's not going to do as much damage as Throwglaive, but you know, considering the first boss and everything, this is just my general recommendation to the general player base of DHs. Um, you know, like I would generally recommend Glaive Tempest because you don't want to, you know, fell rush into the beam on the first boss, and you know, there's other things like that where you got to consider. Um, but me personally, I do always play Throwglaive anyways because I've practiced Throwglaive the most in there, and I've gotten used to the first boss playing Throwglaive with momentum, you know. It's really not that bad once you give it a few tries and just like play safe with the fell rushes and everything. So it just takes planning to make the Throwglaive work on the first boss. But yeah, I mean, you know, this is basically it's really it's, it. A lot of these seem pretty straightforward and obvious, and so I understand that. But you know, you don't know who this would help out there, you know, this type of video. So hopefully y'all like this, and I'll make sure to do this again next week, and get back to the stream. Thanks.